I remember when I was a human with friends, Pokemon, a family, and a wonderful life. I adored my hometown as well. Unova is such a beautiful region, and I was never out of it once. I know I should have gone out and seen the world, but I didn't. The region was and is too beautiful. Even as the thing I am now, I still only live here. When I was human and young, I remember asking my mother as a toddler, Mommy, what would it like to be a Pokemon? She had no answer for me, but this made sense. She was not a Pokemon, nor had she ever been one. But the thought still boggled my mind during my youth. What does it feel like to be caught in a Pokeball? What is it like to be befriended something that isn't your species? What would it be like to use flamethrower or water gun? So many questions I was curious about Pokemon altogether. Soon, I had much interaction with these creatures. I turned 10, and Professor Juniper allowed me to choose my first Pokemon. I set out on an enormous adventure. The Pokemon that I caught, they became my closest friends and my companions. I was intrigued by the attacks they used, and still I wondered how they used them. My Pokemon and I traveled around the region, meeting new people, seeing new places. It was the happiest time of my life. I made some human friends during my lifetime as well, and they proved to be loyal as my Pokemon were. I, along with my friends and Pokemon, eventually grew up, so we kept traveling together. Fortunately, I was unable to stay with my friends for very long because they wished to travel with other regions other than Unova. They let me stay behind, even though they were confused as to why I didn't follow them. But no matter, they're probably all dead now anyway. I remained with my Pokemon for the rest of my life. I loved them, and they loved me, staying by my side. And I found out that one day that my mother died, even though I was in mourning, I was able to push on. Soon after, it started following me. I figured it was a Pokemon, but I wasn't so sure. I never saw it before. It was a black Pokemon, one with gigantic red eyes, 2 arms, and no legs. Its tail was, its tail of some sort. It carried some kind of expressionless mask. The thing always followed me ever since my mother's death. It frightened me, especially since I had no idea what it was. Every time I saw its face, its red eyes always seemed sad and heartbroken. It looked interested in the mask. It wept every time I looked at it. And whenever it looked at me, I didn't talk to it though. It tried to speak to me. Though half the time I couldn't understand anything it spoke in broken English. Please, yeah, Mom. It was always trying to tell me something, judging by how desperate its tone sounded. The fact that I couldn't get its message across was even more sad. Even till I had stopped saying actual words, only said Yamask over and over again. When it spoke to me. When I grew old, it still followed me, though it seemed less sad that it had for all those years. I, as I was developing, soon passed away, with that thing hovering above my head on my deathbed. It was the last thing I saw. When I was buried right next to my mother's grave, my spirit rose out of the grave I was in. At least I thought it was my spirit. I saw the thing floating over me, and for the first time, I could understand it, even though it still only said the mask. My son, welcome. That thing, it was my own mother. That explained why it followed me. She was trying to make me aware of her presence, but because she was in that form, the form of a Pokemon, she couldn't. I said, my mother, what Yamask? I was starting to lose my ability to speak English too. I stared at my reflection in the pond next to the graves. It looked just like my mother did. Black, 2 arms, no legs, and that mask.
I'd get a
I
skin
recognized it to be my own face, from when I was a normal human. Soon, I couldn't talk like a human anymore.
disc. It
I
looks
was
like
into
we'll have
human.
to
I was
operate.
Yamask,
Ladies and
a
gentlemen,
Pokemon I didn't even know existed. I was glad that my mother and the others could understand me, but it just wasn't the same. I couldn't explore like I used to anymore, nor could I catch Pokemon. I was a Pokemon. Now, the others and I make our home in the Relic Castle, though we couldn't tell the explorers that visit here that we were once human. Nor can we tell them that they will meet the same fate that we when they die. But never mind. Now all I can do is stare at my own face and cry at the former life I had lost.
Lousy traitor.
Your Majesty.
just perfect.